Well, hello friends out there in Hamm Camera Land. Rob here. Welcome to another backer update. Today is February 27th, 2018, and today we're going to be talking about the Hamm camera and where we are as far as in the process and everything. I'm going to go over the timeline with you, let you know everything's set for a nice July ship date, just as promised. We're still on track for that. Our optics are turning out nice, custom optics that we have coming all the way from China, which is pretty cool. Designed here in the United States, which is nice, as well as just a lot of fun stuff that's going on. So stick around. It's going to be a really cool update. So, of course, you know, I've been out shooting and photographing with NuBox. This is, of course, our NuBox 1 model right here. This is the model that everybody backed in really red. Ooh, how beautiful is that? I gotta say, I really enjoyed this color. It's nice. I like the way that it feels. Using Hamm camera, using NuBox out in the world without a camera strap is easy for me. I've enjoyed what's actually gone on with that. There is a strap module in the works. It's going to be a TPU band that fits around here. TPU, much like that hard rubberized plastic or plasticized rubber that you find on phone cases. You know that it's nice and supple, but it's not hard like glass. And that will actually go on around the band, allowing this to hold down like that, and it'll allow you to use whatever camera straps you would like to use. So all you'll need is an adapter, which is that nice TPU band. It's going to be elastic and tension fit. And the good part about TPU is, you know, it can go on and off hundreds of times, just like on your cell phone case, and not deform over time. So it'll still give you that really great use years to come. Nice gray color is what I'm going to go with. And there are actually going to be pictures of this up soon. I just have to get the material in to print them, but that's already been designed for you guys. Also continuing, we've gone ahead and updated the actual position of the hole in the back. This is great right here because as it is right here, you can't necessarily see, but that lines up perfectly with all of your 126x9 film stocks. So like Ilford, Fuji, Kodak. Right. So that's a lot of fun. Also, I'm still working on the tripod stuff for this. I don't know if that's going to come as a as an actual attachment that you might add, but or if it'll just be built right in. I'm trying to build it in. I've got to deal with a little bit of space right now. Anyways, that's pretty cool. So I wanted to tell you about all of that. I'm also working on some different viewfinders right now. So I've got these kind of blacked out because I've been changing things out in order to just look. I am currently testing the wide-angle lens cartridge. Woo! You guys would be excited about that. And actually what I'm finding is that the goggles, which is a really great idea, is a little bit more difficult to implement so that you can change the goggles on the front of the camera right in here when you change your lens. Basically, because in order to get that compressed view, I need a shorter focal length lens, and so I'm just working on seeing if I need multiple elements to do that, which I would completely negate switching out the goggles, or whether or not I need to, I can just engineer some kind of shortener, you know, put the lens further in or move something up. There's a couple things to do. Remember, this is for the goggles, not for the actual cartridge. The lens cartridge works great, and I'll be sharing with you images from the wide-angle lens cartridge in about 2 weeks. So speaking of more fun stuff, let's continue with that. I know you're so excited. You guys know that I've been photographing and putting up some stuff over on Instagram. Here are a couple of images. These are just 8x10s that I printed out. This is on my portrait paper that I use. It's definitely printed in high gloss. As you can see, I use my DNP TS80. Of course, right here, I use my Epson V550 in order to scan all the negatives. And I developed really cool stuff, color and black and white. And color has been developed. This was developed using the C41 kit from the Film Photography Project. That is awesome. So I'm just going to talk about these images here, share with you what I think about them, and allow you to go over to Instagram at the box's back and check them out. Okay. This, of course, was shot on Kodak Portra 400. And this little image right here, my kid's down at the beach, and all my stuff is floating all over the place. I don't understand why it's got to slip and slide. Beautiful image. What I like about it is, look right here, we're at f/22. Notice almost zero. There's very, very little vignette in the corners. I'm sorry that you can't see it. So when I look at it, there's so little vignette, it's almost, it's like non-existent. And that is at a very small f/22 aperture. And you guys know that's tiny. It's less than 3 millimeters. It's like 2.25 millimeters. And that's pretty cool. What I do like is that even at f/22, we get some nice background bokeh because, you know, it's just the background is so far away. So when you can line your subject up where you've got a deep field in the background, a deep area, I should say, in the background, you can use that f/22 and still create a little bit of bokeh just by having some out of focus highlighted areas. And you can see that in the background. Of course, these guys right here are nice and sharp. What I will tell you is that even using about 1/200th of a second shutter speed, you have to be aware of shutter shake because of this little movement right here. Man, if you're not careful, I found that on the downstroke, I kind of tilt the camera at the same time I'm taking the picture. That is something that I had experienced in box cameras before. I thought it was more of an article or artifact of just the slower shutter speed. And I find out that, of course, camera shake and things like that are artifacts of slow shutter speed, but you have to be really careful because this motion is so linked together with that downward push. You know, it just seems like it's easy for me to get slightly blurry effects. And that's something that we'll see right here as well. Let's see. Maybe I don't have that one printed out. Oh, here's one. Here's another one. This is one you guys have not seen, and I think this one took place with what exactly I was talking about, that effect I was talking about just a second ago. Once again, same day, they're on the rocks down at the levee by the beach. Of course, my son, Ira, Robert. Notice I've organized everybody on a nice diagonal right there. Beautiful background. The rocks, the portrait renders a beautiful color. Look how nice and slightly contrasty the lens is, but really it's not so much contrasty. Well, I guess it is kind of contrasty in this instance. I guess when I have to look at it, but I see it more as dynamic than contrasty, because here, even in this one, my kiddos have a bit of a glow, and that's really cool. And that's all rendering from that custom optic that we're using. Even here, we've got a little bit of a glow on them as well. A little bit further back, everything's in nice focus, f/22, and we can still see as we go back, definitely on the horizon, in this area right here, Mom and her son. I don't know who she is. She's not related to us, but she's slightly out of focus. And probably that sign was probably about 60, 80 feet away from us. So it's in reasonably sharp focus. This one definitely is out of focus right there. And that one's a couple hundred feet away. It's at the end of the levee. Really cool. So those are some winners. You go check those out over on Instagram at Rob Hamm Photo. Here's another one. This is the one I was looking for. Yeah, this one right here. This one definitely suffered from some of the camera shake. And although I like it right now, it's being recorded really, really vibrant. I think there's a little bit too much blue in my white balance correction right here. It definitely doesn't look out of place, but on the camera it looks out of place. It doesn't look so much out of place here, but I just love this image. That's the beautiful part about the scan. I can go back and rescan the image, or I can just touch up the image in Lightroom if I choose to. And that's probably what happened. It got a little bit, you know, a little bit punchy, more punchier, but just goes to show you even what's available there. And I love how the water's reflecting. So NuBox is showing all of that really well. I want to continue and talk about some things that I did. I went up to Natural Bridge and I shot some film, and the kid got a hold of one of the film cartridges by mistake and pulled it out when it wasn't supposed to, and that's okay. So I lost some film and kind of recovered some film. So don't let your kids play with NuBox if they don't know what they're doing, right? But anyway, here's something I did. I was shooting with Ektar 100, and I wanted to shoot Ektar, and I wanted to push it 2 stops. And it's a color film, and that's something that's easily done on black and white, but not so much with color film, and definitely not with Ektar. Now, I was shooting inside the Natural Bridge. It's an area, a lush park area, where we have an overhang of a bridge made in stone, so it looks like an archway, but it's 400 feet tall almost. And it's really cool. It's all forested. And the Indians, there were a bunch of Indians that lived up there. But the reality is, I knew that I needed to use my widest aperture. We're at I think 5.6 here. Actually, no, we're at f8 here. I didn't use 5.6. We're at f8, and yeah. So what we can see here is that even push 2 stops, Ektar 100 push 2 stops to 400, we've got some beautiful colors that come around. It does get a little muddy though. So I knew that, but there's also something else that I knew. At f8, this is the area that's in focus, and everything else begins to go out of focus pretty quickly. And you can actually see a lot of that in the background as we go further back right there. I'll put this picture up as well. But this is an example of something that's more experimental. You know, it's not exactly your typical everyday shots. The whole image is soft. Except for this little area right here, which is pretty sharp, and I think I've got a little bit of that camera shake like I was talking about just from taking the picture. I hadn't really had a chance to develop all of these and really look at all of these images, and so these are afterthoughts, of course. I got one more I want to show you because it's fun, and this one is also taken on Ektar, but this one was inside of a cave, okay? Now, this one, of course, Ektar is a color film. Why is it black and white? Well, there's a great photographer's trick. Whenever the color is wrong, just turn it to black and white. Black and white makes it right, fixes color issues because it gets us out of there. So this was a really muddy image. But by changing it to black and white, and I did a lot of work on this in Lightroom in order to bring out the highlights and everything. But by changing it to black and white, I got a really nice image. Now here's the cool part. Remember, it's still Ektar 100, pushed to 400. That's 2 stops, and then converted to black and white with a lot of work in Lightroom to bring out the image so that we can see it how it is. I think this is a great example of what you can do if you wish. How you can recover an image, but there's still some things about it that are up to taste. I'm not going to say I like them or don't like them, because I like this image because it's my kids and my sweetheart. But at this point in time, I've got a lot of haze. I was using 5.6, just like you guys saw in my original image sets. At 5.6, there's a lot of off-axis light that comes in because the aperture is so wide. We're talking like 17 millimeters across on the lens, and it's just really, really wide. It lets a lot of light in. It's a single element lens system, so there's a lot of off-axis light that comes in, and so we can see a bit of a halo around the highlights. But that's actually pretty cool. The nice part is I was close enough for everybody to be in focus, but then the worst part is, well, just by pushing it, kind of junked all that up a little bit. So my suggestion would not be to shoot Ektar at 400. Don't push it. But if you do push it, you can get some nice results like the one that we saw earlier. Okay, that was just a little trip down memory lane, just a few images. I've got hundreds of these things. These are just a couple that I'm showing recently with all the tweaks and everything that I'm doing. I want to thank you for watching, and I want to share with you one more announcement. Right now, you can go and pre-order cool stuff over on the pre-order store. Just go to the Kickstarter webpage and click on pre-order. Once you get on the pre-order page, you can see all the stuff. But if you want to go there directly, it's theboxisbackerkit.com. That's the pre-order store. You can go on there, and I've got t-shirts that are up. Well, actually polo shirts. I've got all the box cameras, so share with your friends. Anybody that hasn't purchased one, they can pre-order one now. I've got a pre-order link set up for the TPU camera strap already, so for those of you that know you're going to want one, go ahead and pick one up. We can include it in the box, and that way you can have it all when it gets here. Guys, I want to thank you for watching. I'm Robert Hamm. This has been another update about, the box, NuBox. I want to thank you for making this possible. I want to remind you that the box is back. Thanks for watching.